Thank you. Good morning. So I'm sure majority of us in this room would agree with me that building products is a journey, and building IoT products is a very bumpy journey. We love building, we love technology, we love playing with technology. That's the reason why we are here. And there is lots of this excitement about going live, going to production, building things, seeing what's going to happen. And I remember myself, about 10 years ago when I was building my own company, this feeling of just about going live to production and the excitement I had it. And I wanted just do it, deploy it, and see what's going to happen. But fortunately for me, I had my friend, my business partner, sitting next to me. And he asked me this question, well, we can go to production, but what if something goes wrong? And he then finished his sentence, we are going to be like the wanderers in the fog. And then he said we need to add a couple of more operational metrics in order to be more confident. Of course, things can break, but at least we will have some idea where to fix it. And he was even right, because a couple of days later it happened, but we had all the tools to do it, to fix it and to improve it. So I said we love building, I love building, but in this presentation I would like to go to this phase beyond the building of the solution and into getting some more visibility and control into things that are being already deployed in the field. In general, I would say in the nutshell, there are just 5 important questions that we have to ask ourselves before we go live with the product. First is, how are we going to deploy devices securely into the field? Second is, when things are deployed, devices are deployed, then how do you make sure that things are working as expected and nothing wrong is going on? And then when something goes wrong, then how are we going to find it out and learn it before our customers do it? Then, when you know that something is not as it is expected, then the next question is, what can you do next? And it's about then having the capability to pull the logs in order to reproduce the problem in your own environment. You have the logs, you can reproduce it, you can fix the bugs, and then is the next question. Okay, so how are we going to redeploy the updated version of the software onto the devices in the field? This is the 4th question. And the 5th one is that since we are living in this continuous development world, there is this always the pressure to keep developing, keep adding new features. Do we have mechanisms to add new features to our existing gateways devices if we have an idea about a new services? And these things are, I would say, quite obvious. When we look at the Things Network forum, there are plenty of discussions happening about it. And we have went through lots of discussions, lots of threads on the Things Network forum, and clustered those into the 3 main areas. First is about doing the firmware update on the gateway. The second one is about provisioning of the gateways into the production. And the third one is more generic, about having mechanisms to monitor and manage the deployed gateways. These are the example of 3 threads that we have selected for this presentation. But if you look at the Things Network forum, there's plenty of discussion about those topics. And many more. So, based on the analysis of those discussions, we have formulated 3 underserved needs. The first one is about simplifying the processes for gateway provisioning. There are existing mechanisms for doing this in the form of CAPs and LNS. They are fine. They are doing their job. But they are also, in our opinion, a little bit cumbersome, and there is lots of place in order to improve the usability of it. As the business benefit coming out of this is the reduced time to build the LoRaWAN network infrastructure, and as such, reduced time to market for your solution. The second thing is about OTA updates, how to make them reliable and vendor independent. By making them reliable, we mean how to make them unbreakable. So providing very deep integrations of the SDKs that are pushing data from the cloud onto the gateway devices, and then integrating them well with the existing bootloaders available on the gateways in order to make sure that things are working reliable and the devices don't get bricked. And vendor independence need is coming from the fact that very often there are deployments coming from hybrid vendors, so vendor A and vendor B. And then it would be nice to have one system that would be in which you would be able to update gateways from vendor A and vendor B. And finally, the requirements about debugging and monitoring and providing tools that are easy to use. And again, I'm coming back to the CAPS and LNS. They are all providing these functionalities, but it's about making them more usable, more user-friendly, more scalable. These are mostly the needs that have been formulated based on the discussions on the Things Network Forum. However, there are also external factors that we should take into account that may influence our needs or expedite them. Here I'm referring mostly to the currently existing discussions about the legislation within the European Union and the United States. In the European Union, we are talking about the Cyber Resilience Act, which will make it mandatory to manage vulnerabilities in a much more efficient way and remove them from existing deployments. And if this law is going to be enforced, we don't know it yet because there are lots of discussions. In some form, I'm sure it will be. Then, for example, the requirements for scalable and efficient OTA updates will get much more prominence than it is at the moment. And looking also at the general, worldwide geopolitical situations, there are also other things where this vendor independence could come in handy in the existing times. So, what did we do? We acted on two fronts. We acted on the cloud side and on the gateway side. On the cloud side, we have integrated our Coyote IoT platform with the Think stack over the HTTP, and we have used just the Gateway Addition API from the Think stack in order to facilitate the process of provisioning of the gateways to the Think stack. And on the gateway side, we have integrated our NB-IoT lightweight machine-to-machine SDK into the RAG wireless CM4 gateway in order to provide the process of provisioning, OTA updates, and monitoring. And the provisioning is done this way that the device boots up, it's connecting to our cloud, Coyote IoT platform, and then the process of provisioning, generation of credentials, and pushing them back on the device is being handled by Coyote platform, and then creating the state in the Think stack on the second side by the Coyote platform. And our SDK is just storing this data in the proper place so that the gateway can pick it up and automatically appear in the Think stack system. So, looking at it, comparing the needs and how did we solve it? The requirement, the need for the gateway provisioning is being done by the integration of Coyote platform with the Think stack, and the credentials management is being handled by the Coyote platform as its inherent functionality. OTA updates, part of the Coyote IoT DM offering and our NB-IoT Think. We talk about vendor independence because it is based on the open standard protocol called lightweight machine-to-machine. So there is no vendor lock. Anyone can implement the client. The client is also open source. Servers, there are also open source alternatives, so there is independence in the sense. And then these tools for monitoring and management, this is being addressed by usage of lightweight machine-to-machine protocol together with the IFSO objects that define the semantics of sending and transmitting data from the devices, gateways to the cloud. And again, this is an open standard. Everyone can contribute. We see lots of interest coming from multiple industries that are creating their own objects that are being approved by the standardization body. So we started with the concept of wanderers in the fog. And we argue that by doing those very simple additions, we can agree, we can get a lot. And by doing this, the concept of being wanderers in the fog could give us at least a compass to make this journey through building the product, providing the solution much less bumpy. And finally, since I'd like to also let you understand how this all fits into the whole big picture of the LoRaWAN environment, LoRaWAN world. Is that important is that we are not substituting anything, is that we want to enrich the existing LoRaWAN environment by adding a system that is working in parallel to LoRa network servers, gateways, devices, cloud services, just in order to provide this extraction of the operational logs, metrics for the solution providers and OTA updates. And that's it. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming, and happy to hear your questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Are there any questions? Everybody's so shy today. No questions? No? I was wondering, besides your amazing work, you're also doing a lot of research. You did a lot of research. I was wondering, what kind of trends do you see in the things world nowadays, the Internet of Things, and where do you think it's heading?
I would say security is the big topic.
It's also your specialty, right?
Yes. So security has been a big threat, and there was lots of this discussion in the research academic community already like 5-10 years ago that security is a big threat to the mass adoption of IoT. But one thing is the discussion, and this is, I think, what academic community should be doing, is about creating this awareness, not so much about maybe bringing the solution, but creating awareness that industry could take it and do it in the nice, economically efficient way. Because academics tend to focus too much on this theoretical work and overdoing things, striving for excellence at the cost of pragmatism and providing things that are business viable. So I see now that there is this, finally, this importance aspects coming from the security are being merged into the industrial aspects, again, to some extent, at some level that makes it businessly viable, but also improving the overall security of the solutions. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, I can tell. So you say security is very important. What's the main challenge nowadays? In the security field?
The main challenge, I would say, management of the credentials and still lack of appreciation of the fact that it is important by quite many solution providers. This feeling that, okay, I'm just providing some smart thermometers. I get hacked. What then? Yeah, that's one way of thinking. The other way of thinking is that, for example, if somebody is able, to spoof your data, then maybe something with your AI, potentially data are going to be polluted, and then you might end up with the wrong conclusions. So the feeling is that it's coming there, but we need to still do more in order, to convince people about the potential consequences of neglecting this, even if you are doing things simple, because doing simple things is one thing, but then how do they connect and how do they impact the bigger picture is another thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you said it's important for the community, the academic community, but also the community here to raise awareness. Can you give us maybe an example of how to do that if people are like, oh, I want to, contribute to that?
I think there's a great guy from the University of Trento, I think, Italy, Marco Zenaro. And he is, for example, hosting lots of these webinars, research talks, where researchers and people from industry can talk, present their ideas, and discuss about it. I think a couple of weeks ago, Vinka was also part of this community meeting. And I think this is the great place where his kind of theoretical approach is kind of clashed in the positive way with the with the industrial thing in order, to create a bigger value out of this. So lots of initiatives like this.
Thank you very much. Any more questions? Yes. Can you stand up?
Hi. I saw that for one of the final slides was about how the gateway is managed with lightweight M2M. In your experience, how have you found vendors supporting things like this on the gateway? Because gateway hardware is tended to be, and not always is, quite constrained. The software environment didn't always lend itself easily to adding agents. So managing many different types of gateways with your system, what's your experience been outside of the rack sort of development environments?
So we have started with rack because guys from Rack Wireless were very open about it, that they feel the need. And we took, again, pragmatic, iterative approach. Let's do it with rack. Let's demonstrate the value. And then let's see what will happen. And also, the work that we have done until now was mostly, focused on the developer community as a way, just to promote the concept, promote the technology. So we have not gone yet to this enterprise level. But I think, this is, the second part of the journey now. Try to convince others that those solutions make sense. If we are going to do it, I don't know, but I think we should try. In general, the initial feedback, the initial reception is very positive. This is the yesterday and this morning, so I'm an optimist.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions? No? I was also wondering, because you're talking about a revolutionary technology, what do you think is most revolutionary about it?
What is most revolutionary about it?
Yeah.
In IoT, we see lots of players doing things on their own, thinking about like Google or Apple. I want to do everything my way. But IoT is about, again, this clash of the new IT world with the old, I would say, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering world. And the way people in IT, like me, think is different than people in electrical, mechanical engineering think. And the reason behind the failure of IoT in many cases these days, why 3 out of 4 projects fail, is that those two worlds have difficulties in speaking to each other. And we try to build the bridge by the communities, people, we are IT world, coming to the other guys, and try to understand their language, understand their problems, and try to do the work that they want to do it for them in order to make their life easier. And so we talk about standardization, openness of the protocols. And again, if you look at the IT world, Google world, everything is vendor locked. And when we talk about like electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, they talk about norms, interoperability, all those things. So we think by coming to them with the open standards, openness, integration of their world into our world is hopefully the way forward in order to destroy this barrier between us and build a bridge and create more added value.
So that's the reason why it's open source, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Awesome. Any more questions? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Warm applause. Oh, you can give it to me. Thank you.